Be read by There She Comes, Here She Comes, just a walking
down
down.
the street saying do wah diddy diddy dum diddy.
Is this on? Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Bill.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Today's word, well, there's two, hope and faith. My hope leads me to deepen in faith. As Advent season begins, I feel a quickening, a renewal deep within me as I embark upon the spiritual journey leading to Christmas. Over the year, I may have hoped for lasting peace, greater love, or abiding joy. But as I have grown spiritually, I have learned to look for those things within, to claim them as aspects of my divine identity. Once I do that, I will begin to see them manifest in my life. Faith is how I begin to bring my hopes to life. Like my other divine gifts, I always have faith. It's up to me to decide how to use it. When I choose to believe the peace will blanket the earth, love will heal our hearts, and joy will bring harmony to the world's people, I am using the power of my faith to bring those visions to vivid life. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. John 1:5.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay, now it is time for meditation. Let's sing.
So we know the presence of the Lord is in this place because each and every one of us are breathing freely with ease and grace, knowing that the Spirit of God is moving in and through us. And as we take a breath, we know to release anything that stands in the way of our good and open up the path of spiritual richness that is there waiting for us. The power for the month of December is life. And it is represented by the birth of the Christ within us, which is all about Advent. But it is also about acknowledging the life that is within us, that is constantly aligning with superconsciousness, with God. And so today, as we enter a time of quiet, a time of silence, I invite you to just focus on the word God. In the quiet, in the silence. Focusing on the Word God opens up our consciousness. It activates a clear path to allowing truth to come forth. And as we go forth this week to live our life, we can remind ourselves that we can recenter at any moment of any day by affirming God is, and all is well. And for this ability to come together in prayer and meditation today, we say, thank you, God, together. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
I had a joke set up for this morning, so I was ready to say it. Then Disraeli has one, and I was so good I was going to say both of them. But
I didn't know he was going to do this.
Since he's here, you're right. I'm catching you off guard.
All right. I met a woman outside the mall today crying. She had lost $200. I gave her $40 from the $200 I found. When God blesses you, bless others.
That's really good.
And then I couldn't resist. I was going to try to hold off for a week. I thought, no, I'm not going to hold off on that. And then he shows up. And so I was going to give you credit, though. I really was.
Right. Yeah. That was a good one.
Well, you can't really top that one, but we got a good one, too. So. Today's lesson, of course, is first week of Advent, so we're talking about faith. And I have to tell you how squirrels even have faith. So we can have some faith. But let me tell you about the squirrels. The Presbyterian Church called a meeting to decide what to do about their squirrel infestation. After much prayer and consideration, they concluded that the squirrels were predestined to be there, and they should not interfere with God's divine will. At the Baptist Church, the squirrels had taken an interest in the baptistry. The deacons met and decided to put a water slide in the baptistry and let the squirrels drown themselves. The squirrels liked the slide and unfortunately knew instinctively how to swim, so twice as many squirrels showed up the following week. The Lutheran Church decided that they were not in a position to harm any of God's creatures, so they humanely trapped the squirrels and set them free near the Baptist Church. 2 weeks later, the squirrels were back when the Baptists took down the water slide. The Episcopalians tried a much more unique path by setting out pans of whiskey around their church in an effort to kill the squirrels with alcohol poisoning. They sadly learned how much damage a band of drunk squirrels can do. But the Catholic Church came up with a more creative strategy. They baptized all the squirrels and made them members of the church. Now they only see them at Christmas and Easter. Not much was heard from the Jewish synagogue. They took the first squirrel and circumcised him. They haven't seen a squirrel since. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
All right. Well, why do we have... I wanted to kind of touch on... Because, usually at this time of year, we talk about faith and we talk about spiritual faith, which we'll get a little bit into. But I want to talk about really what we have faith in. Because sometimes we talk about faith and we don't really recognize in our daily life what we're having faith in. And we need to just be cognizant of the fact of what we're having faith in. So what is faith? What is the point? Why do we have faith and what is the point? If we have faith as far as God and other things, and we don't initiate that faith or have that faith during our life, then what is the point, to be quite honest? And I want to start with the part of the definition of faith from the Revealing Word from Charles Fillmore. It says, faith, perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance. Now, Reverend Francie talked about substance last week, and we all should remember, I hope, even before then, that substance, when we're talking about a spiritual nature, is God stuff. So substance can be anything and everything, but it's what God can do in what we're talking about. So if we talk about what God can do in a situation we're in, what can God do? It's unlimited, right? Exactly. So we're not worried about, when we talk about substance, we know that we can do anything. But this also can be used as a idea of faith, that we have things in that aren't necessarily spiritual. Because we have faith in things, right? We have faith in our car, in our computers, in our utilities being on all the time. And in fact, here, I think that, I don't know who you have, but we have Snapping Shoals. But Snapping Shoals, when there's been a power outage, has been excellent about coming back and getting it on real quick, as far as where we live. I hope the same has been for you. But we have faith in these things, but they're not really God, if you think. It can be, but it's not really God if you think about it, right? Most people, when they have faith in their car, they're not thinking about God starting up their car, are they? They're thinking about that car is a mechanical thing and needs to start up for me. So there's faith in all these things that we have, whether we recognize it or not. But we do need to recognize what our faith is in. Now, we have also faith in others, don't we? It's easy to say we have faith in our friends because they come through for us when we have a question, our spouses, whoever we're talking about. We have faith in people. And so we have faith in our job, which is also, well, not always, but we try to have a good relationship with our boss and the people that work for us. And I put utilities again because I was wanting to point out the fact that all businesses, no matter what it is, boils down to what? The people that work there. A business really isn't a lot of people think it can be confusing. A lot of people think of a business as this is how they run things. But it's not necessarily how the business run things. In accounting, a business is an entity, but in the real world, in the business, it's not an entity, it's people. And so I'm sure all of us have experienced, whoever it is, whatever business it is, have experienced a good experience with them and a negative experience with them at some point. Now, I'm not saying that every business that you've experienced a negative experience. What I'm saying is when you've had a negative experience, more than likely, if you've been with that business for a while, you've had a good experience, or you wouldn't still be with them. And what do we do when that happens, though? When we have a bad experience? Regrettably, we say, well, the heck with you, right? Yeah. Instead of trying to say, well, this person may be having a bad day. Usually they're not. They're taking it out on you for whatever reason. But we have to realize what it is. It's a people thing, not a business thing. So we just got done with the holiday.
Oh, whoa!
Sorry, I'm trying to adjust. Stay still. I'm trying to stay still.
You shouldn't have to stay still.
Okay, let me go back to this. Okay, we just got done with the Thanksgiving season. It's still going on, if you ask me, because we try to keep that through Christmas, at least, even through Christmas, the 12 days of Christmas, which start at Christmas and go through the Epiphany. Yet, we have faith in a lot of things at Thanksgiving. Regrettably, one of the things that we have faith in at Thanksgiving, if we gather with our family, is a family argument about some stupid thing, either politics or whatever, right? We shouldn't have faith in that. We should have the idea that we're going to go in and no matter what somebody else says, I'm going to have a good time and I'm going to enjoy the family. But we don't always succeed in that, do we? Yet, we can have faith in the idea of Thanksgiving, which is what? Giving thanks for everything in our life. And that isn't meaning, which a lot of people still misunderstand, is that isn't meaning how many cars I have in the garage, how big my house is, and all that. That can be part of it, but being thankful is really for everything. I don't know how many have experienced this. I'm sure a lot if you think about it. Think about how long, we were talking about the Daily Word being 100 years old a minute ago, and think about how long you've lived, however long it is, it doesn't make a difference. A lot of things have happened in society, haven't they? I remember when my grandparents, I wasn't there, but they told stories, and I'm very blessed to hear that. I hope that your parents and grandparents handed down some things, because it's important to know where we came from. And I remember very vividly my grandmother telling me about living through the Dust Bowl. And the Dust Bowl, if you remember from your history books, was a pretty sorry time in our history, because the farmers, what happened is the farmers didn't treat the ground exactly the way they should have years before, and so it ended up being dry, a drought, and then would blow away all the seed and everything. It was just a very poor time because it would take away all the food for people. And I remember my grandparents saying how they, whatever food they had, they fed as many people as they could, because it wasn't like during that time they had enough to sell. They didn't. So anyway, there are things, when we get together at Thanksgiving, we can, if we have experienced that or know about that, then we can be thankful for a lot smaller things than, say, the house or the cars and things. Do you follow me? We can be thankful for just health and a lot of things. And as we grow older, our health does come into more of a play as what we're thankful for. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But our happiness, no matter whether we have an argument at our Thanksgiving dinner or not, our happiness is not based on someone else being happy. And sometimes, especially parents, kind of put that out there and say that and think that. And it's really, for me at least, it's been a really hard lesson to learn. And it's not a lesson really that I think that anyone wants to learn. But we have to recognize that our happiness is not based on someone else being happy. If someone chooses, if we love them or whatever relationship we have with them, if someone chooses not to be happy, there's nothing you can do to make them happy, is there?
No, that's right.
And so you could try and try and try, but what's that going to do? But bring you down, right? And there's, what's the old saying? Don't go down with a sinking ship. I can't remember the whole saying. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. And it's not necessarily that they are a sinking ship. It's just that at this time, their consciousness is not allowing them to understand the things that they have faith in. So if we are aware of things that we can and do have faith in, then maybe we can shift a little bit and recognize where our source is coming from. Criticizing the past is a waste of energy. Going back and thinking about the argument that you had last year at Thanksgiving dinner and thinking that it's going to be the same way if you haven't seen that person for a year is on you. It's not on the other person, right? I mean, we don't have to go there thinking, well, last year you said this and I have to point out this because I thought about this all year, and right? Yeah, that's happened before though, hasn't it? And we got to think about what is my consciousness? What am I bringing to the table? So if we think about where we are at and where we want to be at, more importantly, I guess, then we have to act accordingly. A person who is successful in life financially isn't one that necessarily, well, it is one. It isn't. It is not a person who stays with people who are bringing them down. You follow what I'm saying? If they're successful financially, they're not going to be around people who are bringing them down financially because they don't want that. Okay? And it doesn't make a difference what type of relationship they have, and they're not meaning it mean necessarily, but if you want financial success in your life, then don't hang around people that are going to be spending all your money and not on the same goals as you. So it's kind of common sense on that stuff. But we can't, and then if we are with those people and we want to be successful financially and we go a few years with those same people and then we kind of come back and say, well, I've been working hard at this for a lot of years and I still don't know what's going on. You do know what's going on. You're not the one doing it. You're allowing other people to be in your consciousness and dragging you down. Don't allow that. Our health is something, like I said a minute ago, that we always think about when we're giving gratitude. I hope we think about it at least. And we give thanks for it. And there's a lot of reasons that we give thanks for health, but this church, I've said many times, and Unity in general is extremely good about healing prayers, and it works very well. But again, like the person being unhappy, if someone is focused on their unhealthiness instead of their healthiness, what is going to happen to them? They're going to be unhealthy. What are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on your health and being well? Are you going to do what you need to do to be in that position? Or are you going to focus on, oh, I've got this kidney disease and I'm going to die. And that's it. We have seen numerous times where doctors' diagnosis of death does not come to fruition until later, right?
Right.
And it's not a bad thing about saying that the doctor was wrong per se. It's that the doctor, not all doctors, some doctors are very good about bringing holistic ideas into healing. But some doctors don't look at the fact other than what they see medically, see in their own two eyes. But we know spiritually that we're a lot further than that, don't we?
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, this is something really cool that, okay, you may laugh at me, but this is something that I didn't know before. We have had a year this year, I don't know, hopefully it's at your house too, that we have seen a slow turning of the leaves. They've turned beautiful colors. This is probably the best, prettiest year we've ever been here. And we've been here, 12 years. So, we've had some pretty years before, but not this long. And it's just like, you dream about when you go on the northeast coast, seeing it's just been great this year here. Vibrant colors, yes, with all the different trees. But this is the part I never knew, and I don't know why I never thought about it or looked into it. But there's a reason that trees lose their leaves, the ones that lose their leaves during this time of year. And the reason is because the tree itself knows that things are changing. And it's like a bear that wants to hibernate. But the tree is sucking out all the nutrients from the leaves, and the leaves end up falling off. Did you know that? I never knew that.
No.
That's why the leaves die. It's because the tree quits feeding them the nutrients that they need to survive and sucks it in for the winter.
Wow.
So that is really something cool that I never knew about. And I just have to think about that when we're thinking about ourselves and where we want to be in life. Sometimes we have to quit feeding the leaves on us, that are on us, or whoever it is, other than yourself, to be 100% strong yourself, right?
Right.
And it isn't a happy thing sometimes, but like the tree does it every year. And this is on financial things. This is kind of the same thing. And I can't remember who it is right now. There's a big financial firm that deals in stocks and things. I can't remember who it is right now. It's a big one. But every single year, they fire the bottom 10% of the people for the last year.
Right.
Fire them. They could be doing millions and millions of dollars worth of good business for them. But if you're in that bottom 10%, you're out. And the reason they do that is because they want to keep people on their toes, but they also do that because they know that there's plenty of people in that business and there's plenty of opportunity for people to make more money. So they want to not only shed the people that are not doing better than what they think they should do, but also allow room for other people to come in that are wanting to do that. Now, we recently, I might get in trouble from people out there, but if you're one of them, give us a call and let us know. We recently did the same thing here at the church. We got rid of a lot of people that were not coming to church as far as our mailing list and our other things, and stopped communicating with them. The only reason that we did it was not to say bad you. It was to say we need to open up a space for new energy to come in here. If you want to be a part of this, then bring your energy. And we're going to add to it, but we want you to be here. And we want you to be a participant in the church. And so a lot of people forever since I've been in Unity, and I'm not saying this mean, but have taken advantage, if you will, of Unity. They don't get, on Sunday lessons, they don't get the idea, well, you're going to hell if you don't show up. So they don't show up, don't contribute, don't come here and do anything, but they always watch and get the positive message. I'm glad that you're getting the positive message. But if you're not part of the church, if you don't want to participate, then you're not going to get the full thing. You're going to be one that's believing in things instead of spiritual. And so that's why we need to continue to always look at ourselves and how to prove ourselves. And that takes faith. That takes faith, because when you do that, what is that? It's kind of scary, isn't it? It's kind of like if you're doing the wealth thing and you got people dragging you down. Well, hey, can I get a little money for this? Can I get a little money for that? And you keep handing it out, and it's not a joint venture where you're both doing things, and you're going to fail. It's going to drag you down. We don't want that. We don't want you dragged down. This is a spiritual part of the definition that Fillmore gave us. Spiritual assurance of faith. The power to do the seemingly impossible. We've had a lot of health things do that, haven't we? But we have to open ourselves up to that possibility. It will not do. The impossible won't happen if you don't think it can happen. Now, the impossible doesn't mean that you have to know how it's going to happen. That's why it's impossible. We don't know how it's going to happen. But we know that if we open up the idea that it can happen to us, I can be full of health, I can be full of wealth, I can be full of energy, I can be full of everything in my life because I'm following what I think God wants me to do. And if you do that, you'll get all those things. Jesus was great about that. Jesus always was walking around with wealthy looking things. And I bet you right now, if Jesus were on earth, a lot of people wouldn't recognize him, especially in Christendom. Because they would look at him and say, well, how come he's got so much money? Well, that's not fair to the other people. Yeah, it is. What's limiting you? You're unlimited too. And a lot of people, like then, would not listen to his messages. And we got a thing going on right now in Unity with the ministers. It's been going on forever. And it's just sparked its head again now. Criticizing people who want to call us Christian. And it's a part of our history. It doesn't make a difference to me whether you call it that or not. Because you could look at it, because I've heard the arguments on the other side, that's the other side meaning don't want to be called Christians, and they make sense. Because actually, if you look at Christianity right now, they are stuck when Jesus lived. Unity's never been that. Unity's been always trying to advance the teachings of Jesus. And there's a lot of teachings after that. So if you get somebody that teaches you something that speaks to your soul, like, there's been a lot of great Unity ministers around. Just take Fillmore, the founder of Unity. If something spoke to your soul from Fillmore, and you didn't take if you listen to what he said, then what you would be doing is continuing even on that. It wouldn't be stuck with Fillmore either. And that's why Fillmore, I've probably said this before, I don't know if I have or not. Fillmore, when he died, he had made sure that he was going to be buried somewhere where nobody knew. Why? Because he didn't want to have them put a temple on his grave or anything and worship the temple or him. He knew that it's your consciousness that you want to grow. It's not being stagnant and staying where you're at. So that part of the idea of not Christianity, I can agree with. But the idea of our roots being Christianity, that's just a fact. And so I have no qualms about saying we're Christian. Because I still think there's a ton of stuff that Jesus did that I would still take advantage of and take a lesson from. So let's go on. I'm getting stuck there. It is a magnetic power, faith is, that draws unto us our heart's desire from the invisible spiritual substance. Now, okay, you have to take that whole sentence as one. Some people can get stuck here and say, into our heart's desire. What is our heart's desire? And this is really the difference if you don't continue on with it. This is the difference between the power of attraction and the power of No.
Mind action.
Yes, the power of mind action. Sorry. I don't know. Anyway, if you stop there, if you stop here on our heart's desire, that's what it is. A magnetic power that draws unto us our heart's desire is the power of attraction. But that's not where he stopped, and there's reasons he didn't stop there. He goes on to say, from the invisible spiritual substance. So you can sit there and say, I want a red car, and you'll probably get a red car. But if you look at it this way, from the spiritual substance, and say, I need a way to get around. I didn't think of a Tesla, but I sure got one.
Yeah. Is it real?
That is beautiful. That is beautiful if you think about it. I mean, Tesla's an expensive car, but it's nice. Okay, faith is so you have to know where you're coming from, okay? Faith is a deep inner knowing that that which is sought is already ours for the taking. So if we have a health issue, then we can't think of and dwell on the health issue. Now we can concentrate our prayers and our thoughts to a part of body. We can do that, but we're not sitting there saying, I need healing here because I'm sick. That's the wrong prayer. Here's the correct prayer. I accept healing if we're talking about heart disease or something. I accept healing. I accept the health that my heart is 100%. I see each and every cell expressing in its full health, in its natural state. See the difference? We're not focused on the negative. We're focused on the truth of who we are as a spiritual being. Now faith, this is the end of it. It uses Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is assurance of things hoped for. And so, this is where we can track back to the Bible and say where it has always been there and always will be there. We all know about spiritual faith, which is what we're starting to talk about now, but is it where we have our faith in our everyday lives? That's a big but, isn't it?
It is.
Because sometimes we think, we just aren't thinking that way. And that's okay, and yet we can catch ourselves in saying, what's the truth of this? What's the base of this we're talking about? And we can get to know more of what we are wanting out of life. Do we look at our dollars in our checkbook or whatever it is, our digital whatever, and try our best to protect them or get more knowing there are only so many? Because sometimes we do that, don't we? It was funny when I went to seminary, and Reverend Francie and I, Reverend Francie was already working as a youth ed director up there, and when I went there and was going to seminary for a while, it ended up, long story short, that they wanted to hire me for the printing areas. And so I said, I didn't come here to go back to work. I was wanting to focus on just the studies, but I'll help you out. And so he said, okay, well, so we started negotiating on price. And he said, here's what I can give you. And I'd never done this before, but he wrote it down on a piece of paper and put it over the desk to me. I looked at it and I laughed and I said, I can't do it for that low. I mean, I won't be doing it, nonchalant. I'll be doing it, like I run my business. So I said, I'll do it for this. And I wrote down a number and handed it to him, and he laughed and said, that's more than I make. And so, it kind of told me what was going on there. But that's okay. It's okay. We still, even though you get in a situation like that, what do? You do the best job that you can do. You don't do, how do you say it? Half job. I'll stop there. Half job. Because you think you're getting paid less, right? You don't do that. Who does that hurt? It hurts you. And it hurts your vision of who you're working with and for, right? Don't do that. That hurts you more than anything. Then you'll think about this. You'll think that there's so much, only so much. There were only a couple of us there that voiced it. Now, there probably were more, I'm sure, at the Unity Village when we were there. And not the person I was talking to, that was my he was a director. So anyway, some of us there, though, the CEO would get mad at us because she would say something about, the Unity paying us, and actually it's Therese Lee and her husband, he's made his transition, but anyway, she's another minister, and her and I would always say, you don't pay us, God is our source. And so that would really tick her off. But if you don't necessarily have to say that, but if you understand that in your own being, then you don't have to feel like you're tied to this job because you're getting paid, right? You can know that your skills are valuable at a lot of places, and they are. Okay, if we don't look at it like there's only so many, or do we look at our dollars and know what our source is, God, which is unlimited, which I was just explaining. And if we know our source is God, then what? It is unlimited, right?
Absolutely.
And this even, when I was younger, I used to say this because we didn't have money. I mean, that was just a fact. I mean, it wasn't, anyway. If only I were a millionaire, a billionaire, a trillionaire, it never is going to be enough, right? Because when I was younger, I did say a millionaire, right? Now I wouldn't settle for $1 million. Would you? I mean, millionaire is great, but it's not as great as billionaire.
Or a trillion.
Or a trillionaire, you're right. So as we continue to grow, and if we're continuing to grow in spiritual faith, then this is what happens. And it's not this though. See, the way I wrote this is looking at the physical. You can keep going. I mean, I'm sure that Elon Musk and all those billionaires out there right now are looking at this. Well, I'm not a trillionaire. They're probably looking at that. And that's okay if that impetus helps them. But when we look at our spiritual self, we know that whatever we're making is enough, and there's more, that we're not limited by that. Okay. In this Advent season, which today's first week, let us focus on the unlimited abundance that we have and demonstrate faith by learning more ways to share the abundance. And this is an important deal. If we think God is unlimited, then why are we limiting our giving? Can we outgive God? No. And I know that's an old statement out of churches that might bring up bad memories for you, but you can't outgive God. And when you're with God, you want to give to be, and I'm not saying this just to get money from you. I'm saying this to say that we have to be able to give. We cannot open a space for our new success by hoarding what we've got right now. You just cannot do it. It's impossible.
Right, absolutely.
Even on just the physical sense, you cannot do it. If Amazon, wherever they started, I don't know their story as much, but if Amazon started in one area of the country and decided, hey, we're doing pretty good here, but I don't want to lose any, I'm not going to spread out. Not only Amazon would have lost, but I think we would have lost too, wouldn't we? I mean, Francie loves Amazon.
Because I don't have to go shopping.
That's right. Well, you just do it online. It's very, very convenient, very nice. So we have to get to the point, too, to understand that what we are giving is valuable. And, what we receive in return is immaterial. And if we have gifts, whether it be financial, whatever it is, give them. You cannot take your gifts to the grave. Although I did remember that one joke that reminds me, real quick, is this married couple was great married, and he was a miser, and he was just penny pinching all his life. And so he said on his deathbed, he said to his wife, I want you to promise me one thing, to make sure you give all my money away. He's worth probably about $2 million. And she said, okay, dear, I'll do it. And so he died, and the funeral was going on, and her best friend came up to her and said, well, what about that promise you made to him? Where are you going to give all that money? And she said, oh, I've already taken care of that. And she said, oh, yeah, what did you do? And I said, I just wrote him a $2 million check and put it in the casket. The best way is to give to organizations that are helping us grow in our spirituality. And a Unity a few years back, quite a few years back now, probably 15 years, something like that, started saying this, similar to this, and I agree with it, but I agree more in the church itself. So you do need to give to people and places and things that are lifting you up. But I hope the church is. And if it isn't, please talk to us and tell us how we can be of more service, because we need to know. So I want you to be able to feel free about giving to whoever it is that helps you spiritually. We have and will you give today? Start today. Don't wait for your giving to happen. I do want to talk real quickly about the building fund. We're to a point, and I'll tell you real quick, is that, we had the engineer come out and we got on the detention pond, and we didn't get a good review. And there's some things that need to be done, which are fine, or they're going to get done. But, sometimes you need, and you need to just be told the truth, in a blunt way. And so we did, it's going to cost a little bit more is what I'm saying, but that's not the only point. I did go to a class this last Monday, whenever it was, I went, and got a certificate it was an all-day class about how to, the idea behind it and the correct implementation of a detention pond. So that helped a lot. It was well worth the information. So, but we have to know that we're at where we're at. We're getting to the point where we need to we're going to have to put up or shut up, I guess, is what we say on that property. Because we're going to be done with that here shortly, and then we're going to go to the building. So don't give today. Know that you're ready to give. You're ready to be a part of the flow of God's abundance. God's blessing to each of you. Now, thank you. Now,